people are like, oh gosh, you're so happy. Number one, happiness is a choice. I choose to be happy. I don't know that I couldn't be happy. I remember my mom saying that, you were just born happy. You always have a smile. It's not as if I couldn't have difficult times, because we all have difficult times.
Right.
But it's like the glass could be half empty or half full. It's just full for me. Being a realtor for me is absolutely the best. And, being able to help people through, it could be a challenging situation. It may or may not be. It really depends on what's going on. If I can make it fun, and, there may be some hurdles we have to get through, but that's all right. It's usually all doable. In real estate, I see myself as a person who guides, but I'm not the boss. My clients are the boss.
Hey friends, welcome back to More Than a Mortgage. We are super honored to have another guest with us today. Our goal at More Than a Mortgage is we want to be of value before, during, of course, and then long after the real estate transaction closes. So one of the ways we do that is by highlighting guests and their stories. And our hope is to be able to introduce you to them and that you would love them and want to work with them in the future. So that's really the whole point of what we're doing here today. I'm super honored to have Chris be our guest today. He's got a wild story. It starts with growing up in a family that had a farm and a logging company, and then deadliest catch fishing experiences. And one day, a moment of decision of, hey, I want to be an actor. So stick around. He's got a super meaningful story. There's a lot of depth to it. He's a great guy, an awesome personality, and I promise you're going to want to meet him when it's all said and done. Chris, thanks so much for being here today. We are really excited to have a conversation and to hear more of your story. One of the best things for me about this is I often don't know everyone's whole story, so I get to learn just along with the audience. So thanks for being here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love it. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, well, Chris, I am pumped that you were willing to join us here. This is one of the things in my business that has been so much fun. And I really look forward to these conversations. I try to just visualize, hey, Chris, you want to go have coffee?
Yeah.
You'd be like, sure, let's go have coffee. And then we inevitably have a great conversation over coffee, and we lose it all because no one actually wrote down any notes and there was nothing recording it. So the whole point of this is it's a coffee conversation, but it's recorded for our benefit, right? So we can remember it. But also primarily we want to introduce you to your audience and mine in a way that people hopefully, and well, not hopefully, but in a way that people probably don't know you, right? So that's the whole purpose of this is let's hear Chris's story. Let's learn about what got you to where you are today. I mean, we don't really have to have much of a business conversation necessarily because people like to do business with who they know, like, and trust, right? And so the whole goal of this, let's get Chris's story out there so we can introduce him to people and they decide that, oh, I like Chris. I would love to work with him, right? That's kind of the whole point. So I'll just kick off a standard question that I tend to ask everybody. I'm just a man of routine, I guess, and just do the same thing over and over. But I'm sure you woke up at 8 or 9 years old one day and said, hey, I want to grow up and be a real estate agent. That's probably how it went, right?
No.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. I love real estate, and it's absolutely the best thing I've ever done in terms of job. And I don't even think of it as a job. When you love what you do, they say you don't work, right? The way I got here is when I sold a home in California, the realtor that helped us was a friend of a friend. She did an amazing job, really great at giving the information and guiding, but not dictating. And I think that's a real big thing. In real estate, I see myself as a person who guides, but I'm not the boss. My clients are the boss. And when I moved here, my broker right now, it was my realtor. Oh, really? She and one of our other colleagues, those were my two realtors, and they did such an awesome job. They really inspired me. And I thought of real estate in the past. My wife said, oh, you should do real estate. I was like, oh, real estate? Like what? I never really thought of it. And when I moved here and noticed what was going on, there was so much building and so much real estate. It occurred to me that, oh, maybe I could try this. And it was a friend of a friend that knew the sales manager at Brighton Homes, which, got an interview for me. And
Yeah.
here I am. So working for the builder was amazing. And that helped, kind of throw me into the business. And I managed their 55 plus communities and also Homestead and Eagle. But I love it. I'm so grateful for that start in this business. And then as I left them, I came to relocate 208 Real Estate where I'm at now. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a small boutique brokerage and everyone's just kind and caring. And I love it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's great.
So you didn't wake up at 8 years old or 10 years old and decide you wanted to be a real estate agent?
No, I did not. I would have never known I was going to be a real estate agent. And then here I am.
But ultimate compliment, right? In that your realtor, when you relocated to Idaho, right? So we're in Idaho, for those of you who may not maybe put that together today, actually became someone that you went and hung your license with.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think it's
tremendous compliment.
I think it says a lot about her, what a great person she is and what an awesome job she has done. And yeah, I feel that the two of them, as well as the agent in California, really inspired me. And you never know you can do something until you do something. And looking back, I've had many different jobs, as you know. I think all those other jobs were great and maybe stepping stones to get me where I am today. But being here today, I look back and I sometimes just chuckle because I love doing what I'm doing. And the thing for me is I really care about people, and being able to help people is such a beautiful thing. And especially a lot of the business is relocation, people coming from other states, California.
Where'd you come from?
Could be other places. I did come from California too. But that being said, I'm from Washington State, as are you.
Yes.
Right.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So I grew up about an hour north of Seattle, Washington.
Where?
Camano Island.
Oh, we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And that is a beautiful place. I love it there. I love the Pacific Northwest, but living here is maybe one of the best places I've ever lived. And I jokingly say to people as I meet people for the first time, welcome back to America.
Yeah.
I see Idaho. I mean, we live in America, but this feels maybe 20 years behind the time, but it's not behind the time. All I mean in that is behind the times that it's just people are different. People are very genuine here, very loving and caring. And I feel like there are certain places of America that aren't exactly that way anymore. So here it's America, but yeah, it's just different. And it's a great place to be for sure.
That's awesome. It reminds me of, did you ever go to Central Washington? Like when you were living in Washington, I guess.
Yes.
Remind me, how long were you in Washington State?
I grew up there most of my life.
Okay. You go to high school there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Did you ever go
Stanwood High.
Yeah. Nice. I went to Snohomish High.
Yes.
We talked about this. You probably remember. Did you ever go to Lake Chelan?
Oh, yes. I loved Lake Chelan. And that was a fun place to go, when I was a kid. And then as a teenager and young adult, it's kind of a wild, crazy place.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I got my driver's license and would go to Chelan as much as I could when I, turned 16, 17, 18, whatever it was. But my grandparents had a place there. And so I think I've probably been to Chelan more than 100 times in my life is what I estimate.
Really?
We've got some dear friends that actually relocated over to Chelan. But it's funny, as a kid, I remember going to Chelan. And the only reason I mentioned this story is because you said Idaho kind of reminds you of maybe like 20 years ago, right? When I'd go to Chelan as a kid, maybe this will resonate. I felt like it was stepping like back in time about 20 years. And this is dating myself, right? The internet didn't exist. And, production flow of just goods and services was just more challenging to get over the Cascades for whatever reason. And you'd step back into Central Washington and go to a little small town like Lake Chelan. And it's just like, holy smokes. It might've been the year 2000, right, at the time, but it felt like 1980, or it might've been the year 95.
70.
And it was, feeling like it was the mid 70s. So crazy how times have changed and how life seems to have sped up and the world has become just a much smaller place. But
oh, I agree 100%. I think I love Chelan. I think it's such a fun place. I haven't been there in forever, so I don't know what it's like today, but I'm sure it's much the same, and I'm sure it's a little
Quick
different.
plug for Chelan. You should go back.
Yeah.
It's a full day to get there. I think it's like 7.5, 8 hour drive.
Oh, wow.
The better part of 500 miles from here in Boise to get there. But it's worth it. I mean, their wine culture has exploded. And of course, the internet has made the world very small, right? And so the same culture that exists anywhere that has access to, goods and services exists in Lake Chelan now. And it's a very, high end and no longer the 20 years blast from the past type of situation, but it's beautiful lake, of course, and definitely worth visiting. So
that's interesting. The wine, there are a lot of places now. Eastern Washington, there are a lot of places with wine, which before there was none of that, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I think I'm accurate. Washington is the number 2 wine producing state in the country now, only behind California.
Interesting.
And again, when I was growing up in high school, and I don't think wine was really a thing at all in Washington. I mean, it had to have been, but not like what it is today.
Wow.
So
amazing.
Anyway, we are way off topic. Who knew? Who knew?
Shocker.
All right. So you born and raised in Western Washington, Stanwood High School grad.
Yeah.
Tell us more. What was next?
Yeah. So just a little history.
Yeah, would love just to kind of hear how you got to where we are today, right?
Yeah.
And, you can be as roundabout or as concise as you like, but I know that there was relocation, right? So you left Washington at some point and went somewhere else, and would love to hear a little bit more about that.
All right. Yeah. Well, so just a little backstory. Growing up on Camano Island, my family had a logging company. So I was a logger, helped out.
Lumberjack?
Yeah, lumberjack. I don't think I'm very tough anymore. Used to be. I used to split firewood since I was in the 5th grade.
What you should do for your next Instagram reel.
Yeah.
Let's go out and split some firewood.
I would love it. Yeah. That's a difficult thing now too, because of course I love camping and going into the mountains, which means I like to build a fire, and buying those packages at the store. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's $1 for a hunk of, a piece of firewood. I'm like, oh gee, I split cords and cords and cords of wood for years and years and years. And to think that, I'm paying $1 for a little piece, I'm like, oh yeah, it's hard.
I think it's like $10 for a bundle of wood now at the grocery store. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's hard for me to even think about that. I can't recall the amount of money we got for a cord of wood, but a cord of wood is a lot of wood. I don't know how many pieces. It's a lot of pieces. Yeah. So to think that, it blows my mind, but I get it,
Was that your
everything goes
family's primary income, was a logging business?
Yeah. So basically that was my mother and stepdad. And so that's how I grew up most of my life. And that he was a logger. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. I have operated chainsaws, a bar like this long, cutting trees down. I didn't cut trees down much. That's a real skill to be able to cut a tree down. But I'd limb them. I would buck them to length, which is an interesting thing. Yeah. Used to operate a skidder, which is a giant tractor going through the mountains. So many times I thought I was going to flip that thing. You'd be going down a hill.
That's crazy.
With a bunch of logs behind you. And, there were logs. I mean, excuse me, Mike, giant logs. Yeah. Lots of Douglas fir.
Cascades. Yeah. It's got thick forest, lots of fir trees.
Yeah.
Were you guys up in like Darrington, or where were you?
So we didn't really work up there much. We were mostly just around the island. Actually,
really?
A lot of work was done on the island, but it was, I don't know if we were ever in Snohomish, but all over the place, and it was a great thing for many years. I did that. And then I started commercial fishing in Alaska, and oh, wow, that was such an amazing thing. I'm part Norwegian and part Irish, so I feel like it just makes sense that I love the ocean.
Yeah.
But that was phenomenal. And that was when I was a younger person.
How old were you when you got on a fishing boat the first time?
So I'm not sure exactly, but early 20s, maybe I was 20, 21. And I did it for 7, 8, 9 years in my 20s until I was nearly 30. And then I didn't do it for 10 years and came back and did it again. Oh, wow. I was like, this is a lot of work.
Real life deadliest catch, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It was pretty amazing. And it's interesting because we were just on a 32-foot boat. It was a pretty small boat.
Yeah.
They could be wider, taller, but they couldn't be more than 32 feet. So we were in Bristol Bay. And yeah, it was amazing. But I mean, sometimes the seas, you could have a swell of, 15 feet.
Jeez. Yeah. On a 32-foot boat. That's
crazy. And the thing of it is, you're catching salmon, mainly sockeye salmon, and those are usually about 5 to 7 pounds, per fish.
Yeah.
Well, you could have 10,000, 20,000 pounds on your boat.
Yep.
And then it's kind of like, doesn't move very well. So you have to really be careful. And unfortunately, boats sink nearly every year and sometimes multiple. And, sometimes, unfortunately, people lose their lives. It's pretty scary. I did fall off the boat once.
Jeez.
But we were tied up and I fell off because of the water was rough, fell off, but caught myself on the edge of the boat. I think it was on the bow, front of the boat. I just kind of did a pull up and my toes barely dipped in the water and I jumped on board, but everyone was kind of looking out because there were a lot of people around, like freaking out. Because if someone gets in the water, it's freezing. It's summertime, but that water's freezing. So, I mean, and it's current, right? It's the mouth of a river. So it's pretty crazy, but yeah, it was totally fine. I jumped back up there, but telling my mom that story, she was like, oh my gosh, almost lost you. She didn't. I was fine, but yeah, and so I did that for quite some time.
So let me ask, just sockeye or just salmon season?
So it was, it's the middle of summer. It's usually June, like kind of mid-June through mid-July is sort of that season.
So
that was
right now.
Yeah, it is. So that was Bristol Bay. And then sometimes I would do Kenai too, which was then the next month. And that was a little different fishery where we were on shore in little skiffs going out, which in a weird way, you'd think, oh, you're close to shore. That's great. It's not. The swells, especially as you get close to the shore. Oh, wow. And again, now you're on this tiny little skiff. Maybe you have a few thousand pounds of fish, but it was, oh, wow. It was pretty intense for sure. But it's either you can do it or you can't. I think and I never knew it. Am I seasick? Do I get seasick? I don't know. Never tried. Thankfully, I did not get seasick.
That's cool.
Yeah. But it was awesome. And then, I used to also, so I did the logging, commercial fisherman. And then I worked at Starbucks for a while, the human resources.
Okay.
I kind of did that part-time for a bit.
Like for their corporate office?
Yeah, corporate
in
office.
downtown Seattle?
Yeah, HR.
What year was that?
Oh, gee. I'm not sure. Yeah.
My wife worked for a Starbucks corporate office.
Really?
Yeah. Downtown Seattle for a handful of years. It would have been around like 2008, 9, 10.
Okay. So that would have been after my time because I think I moved to LA probably 2000, 2001 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was at the corporate office, which was a funny thing. And then all of a sudden I decided I'm going to be an actor. So then I just I drove down to LA and a buddy of mine was living there. So I lived in Venice Beach for a month. We had a place just for a month.
Muscle Beach, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever go down and work out on the beach?
I never worked out on the beach, but funny. I mean, I haven't worked out in forever. Hate to admit that, but
we'll keep those guns away.
Yeah, exactly. But back then I definitely did work out, but I wasn't at the beach. Those are, big old tough guys, not this guy.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Family logging business.
Yeah.
Commercial fisherman, Starbucks headquarters.
Yeah.
And then one day you just have a light bulb moment. It says, hey, I want to be an actor.
Yeah. So it wasn't a light bulb moment, I would say. And to backtrack, I also grew up on a farm. So I was a farmer too, which is kind of another funny thing, which, I think all of those things are so great though, because it helps make who we are as a person. And it's a lot of hard work. I think a lot of people don't love hard work. I love hard work. And there's a sense of accomplishment when you do that hard work. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny looking back on life. It was not a light bulb moment. Ever since I was a little kid, ever since I could even think to remember, I knew I was going to be somehow in the entertainment business. And I was a little bit of a class clown growing up.
How did you know that? Were you self-aware, or did your parents just say?
Self-aware.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know that my parents even thought that or noticed that, but I mean, ever since I was a little kid, people are like, oh, you should, well, maybe as I got a little older, you should be a stand-up comedian. I was like, oh yeah. How do you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And people talked to, oh, you should do acting and this and that. I was like, oh yeah. Same thing. It's like, how do you do it? And then one day I just decided, okay, I'm done. I'm doing it. I'm going to go be an actor. And the funniest thing, as I had a buddy that was living there, and he was doing extra work, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you see a movie and the people in the background actors, extras. Yeah. So he was doing that, and he had some funny little things. And so I thought, oh yeah, I'll do that. And so I started doing that with him. And
so how does one do that? Like you decided you wanted to move to LA and be an actor. What if I decided I wanted to do that tomorrow, which I'm not deciding that, but how
you might.
Well, I mean, anything's possible, I suppose.
Yes.
How would one decide to, how would one start that? How did you start that?
Yeah. So the biggest background casting agency is called Central Casting, and they even talk about it sometimes in movies and stuff. You just go there and sign up, and then they just start booking you on shows.
To be an extra.
Yeah,
okay.
To be an extra. To be an actor is a very different situation because you have to find yourself an agent, right? And generally speaking, you need some kind of background training. Yeah. I did not have any. Besides life, you count that.
Yeah,
I do.
For sure.
Yeah. But it was fun. And as you do background or, doing extra work, you end up meeting people and figuring out different things. I ended up starting to be what they call a stand-in. I'm pretty sure you know what that is, and maybe everybody else does not, but let's just pretend you and I look alike.
We're like identical twins.
Brothers. You're the actor, and before setting up this scene, there's a lot of lighting and, setting up of the cameras. So I would be in the spot of that actor. So that was so much fun. And that was a little better because when you're doing extra work, you could be on a show today, tomorrow you're on another, as you're on all these different shows. And it's like, who knows? One could start at 5 a.m. You're off at, midnight, the next one, there are all kinds of different calls. But if you got on a show, whether it would be a TV show or a movie as a stand-in, then it's kind of like you knew you had work, right? You didn't have to be fighting day to day to where's my next job. And so it was a little nicer in that way. And then you really get to know the crew because as a stand-in, of course, usually you get to know your actor pretty well, but then you also, you get to know the crew, so the camera guys, camera gals, the director of photography, the actual director, the assistant directors. There's so many people involved in, making a movie or a TV show. So yeah, that was so much fun. And one of the best jobs I ever did was, I started working with Dean Winters on a TV show. Well, he's the Allstate Mayhem guy. So the guy in the suit. Yeah. And I was working on a TV show, but then I also started doing his commercials as his stand-in. Okay. And oh my gosh, that guy is the greatest, nicest person in all of Hollywood. And we're like brothers. It's, he's just such a cool guy and such a loyal person because they can, have anyone do this or help them but he's got like just a little group of people that they're just like family. It's got a hair lady, a makeup person, wardrobe, stunt, stand-in, just this like almost like a little entourage, but just family. And Yeah, I had so much fun. And on those commercials, they're just always blowing stuff up and doing crazy stunts. So many stunts.
So you were doing stand-ins for the Allstate commercials?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So, and the fun thing of it is too, often if you're a stand-in, you just show up in regular clothes.
Yeah.
Let's pretend your actor has a black suit on. So you might just wear a black shirt. It doesn't have to be a suit. With Allstate, I was fully dressed from head to toe, just like him. So that was kind of fun as well to sort of wear that suit. And yeah, it was awesome. And speaking of standing in, another cool gig I did, and I'm not even big into it, but it was fun to do. I went to an interview once. Sometimes they'd have you interview to be a stand-in, so they'll get 3, 4, 5 guys that look like the actor. So I went to this interview and they're like, oh, are you okay? Like, are you claustrophobic? I was like, oh, I don't think so. I was like, oh, do you know what this project is? I was like, nope. And they're like, okay. And then I was talking to some of my buddies out there. They're like, do you know what we're doing? Do you know what we're here for? I was like, I don't know. I don't have any idea. This is Dark Knight Rises. I was like, oh, cool. Standing in for Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. I think I ended up there. There were actually 2 stand-ins. So there was a main guy, but they needed a backup guy because I guess that guy wasn't available some of the time.
Okay.
So I ended up getting picked to be the backup guy. So I was actually the guy that was first on set because this guy couldn't work for some amount of time. But oh my goodness, it was putting on that suit was the first time that I really understand the importance of wardrobe and how that changes you. You kind of all of a sudden stand taller and the cape flowing. It was like, whoa. And you couldn't turn your neck like this. It was kind of like you had to turn your body. It was so amazing. It just like transforms.
Yeah.
What? It like puts you in that character just like that. It was so cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome. And again, I'm not like a huge Batman fan, but I do appreciate it.
But you wore the Batman suit.
But I wore that suit. Yeah. And putting that cowl on was like, whoa, it was really cool.
How long did it take to get the suit on?
Yeah, so I would call myself casual Batman because I had jeans on and just like, I don't know, regular shoes or boots. So I had it took a bit and they had people that would help me put it on, which is kind of funny too. But yeah, it's kind of almost like shoulder pads that kind of come down and the cowl and gloves and stuff. But I think that's about all that I had. And then the cape. Yeah. But that's awesome. It was pretty funny. That was an awesome project. And the director of that, who I believe probably produces it too, Christopher Nolan.
Okay.
That man never sits. He is just working. There was a time we were in downtown LA. There must have been 100 production assistants. So they're, the ones that help out with, they call them a PA usually is.
Okay.
But they were just all over kind of blocking traffic and blocking people so that we had the whole area. And I think I don't know, they call it the Batmobile, the flying thing. I don't even know what they call it.
Batmobile, I'm sure.
Sure, Batmobile. It's like flying down. It's on some like pulley situation. It's like a major stunt. And it's like right in downtown LA. Yeah, it was awesome. So cool. I remember one of the days they made it snow in downtown LA, middle of summer. It was like,
crazy.
What is going on? It was just, that was, when you talk about production, that was just amazing. And Christopher Nolan, he's like, there's always something going on. He's setting up this scene, boom, lets the camera take care of it, lighting, get that going. He's got another scene going. It's like, wow. Yeah. He was just always on it. Yeah. It was amazing. Amazing to watch. And every day he wore a suit. I just thought that was so cool. Yeah.
What kind of shoes?
I don't know.
Because if he's standing the whole time, I'm curious if he's got comfortable shoes on or.
I think he was barefoot.
Oh, wow.
No, joking. Could you imagine? Know. He's like got this beautiful suit on. It's like barefoot.
That's weird.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I'm connected. Yeah. Nice. Grounding.
Oh, he's grounding. Yes.
No, I don't think so. I think he had shoes, probably nice ones. I don't know. I'm a guy, Gavin. His shoes. Gee, I'm proud that I knew he had a suit on.
I only asked because you mentioned that he was standing. And I just know at 43, if I stand for any length of time, I just start to get achy. So
isn't that funny? Well, I'm 53. I'm 10 years your senior.
Well, you're looking good for 53. So maybe I've got something to look forward to.
All right.
That's awesome.
Maybe. I think you're doing okay.
How many years in Hollywood? And would you say successful season of life for you?
Oh, well, successful season of life for sure. Because also I was working at Starbucks. So when I was at the corporate, I transferred to a store and they thought I was a spy or something. I'm like, they expected I know everything about making coffees. I'm like playing with papers here, guys. I don't know anything about coffee.
You earned the green apron.
Yes. And I did have a black apron, just coffee master. Hello.
Nice.
Yeah, that took some, work to get. But so when I think of success, I think, I was a great actor and did all this. So I don't see it as success in the way that I was there 20 years and my acting was like, I mean, I had so much fun and made so many connections and it was a wonderful experience, but the success of that time of life was meeting my wife.
Okay.
So she was a customer at Starbucks.
I love this.
And so she came in, here and there. And I worked all kinds of different shifts. And I remember, it was important for us to know people's names and, kind of learn their drinks. So if we saw them, we'd just have it, we'd get it ready, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I knew her name for the longest time. She did not know mine. She told me later in life. I was like,
she had confessed that she didn't know your name?
We're married now, so she can say anything, right?
Right.
Yeah. But I remember her, I would see her. Her name is Taryn. And I would see her coming in. Oh, hey, Taryn, good to see you. And one time I was out, kind of cleaning up, sort of bussing the store, I guess. And, I was talking to her, a little chit chat. And then I had mentioned something like, oh, you should come in more often. And she's like, well, you should come see me sometime. I was like, oh, my God.
She asked you out.
I was like, oh, my gosh. Wow. I was like, yeah, okay. And she was, I think at the time working at this place called the Elephant Bar, I think she was what was she doing there? She was a host. That's what it was. As I remember going in there and, seeing her. And I remember, I think we must have exchanged numbers. Well, I know we exchanged numbers because I still have a business card from the Elephant Bar with her old number on it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is kind of cute. I'm going to frame it. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I remember after we ended up
It's funny she had a business card as a host from a restaurant.
She must have, because it wasn't her business card. It was just a business card for the restaurant. Okay. And she wrote her name on the back.
Oh, I see.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think it's probably, she just had those sitting right there. Yep. So, but yeah, we started dating and I don't know, she couldn't get rid of me, poor thing. But that's a success. I see it as
huge success.
That I met my wife there. And then that's where we had our children. So I have a son and a daughter. So my son, he's 13 and my daughter is 10. They're soon to have birthdays actually in this month. It's birthday month.
So 11 and 14 then?
Yes. Yeah.
So going into 6th grade and going into 8th?
Yes. Oh, no. So it'll be 6th and 9th. Yeah. Okay, so cool. Middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Really big deal.
I have my oldest is going into 9th.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's similar season. Of life.
I'm so excited for them. I think it's going to be great for both of them. I think middle school was really great for my son. And I think elementary obviously was great for my daughter, but they just both did such an amazing job. When all the COVID stuff was going on, we ended up pulling our kids out of school and homeschooled. And by we, I mean my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, oh, we're going to homeschool. I was like, oh, great.
Were you guys living here or in California?
We were.
Okay.
Yeah. So we arrived here maybe a year or more before COVID, but it was just such a crazy time. I'm glad, that's behind us. But yeah, there was just so much stuff going on at school and a lot of uncertainty. And my wife just said, yeah, no, I'm going to teach them. I was like, oh, thankfully she's a brilliant person. So
That's
I was
awesome.
like, okay, yeah, we're going to teach her, but
It's funny. I think we've had a few guests on this podcast, and I think you're the third that has talked about homeschooling kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my.
And I wouldn't say homeschooling is like a super common thing.
No,
Maybe more so in Idaho than other places.
I think it's more common here or just becoming more common in general. But this is the thing we realized. So when the schools kind of shut down there for a while, we realized the amount of school, right? So they go for the whole day, right?
Yeah.
But when you realize the learning, it's an hour or two. It was it was a shocker.
Yeah.
And, so my wife she works from home. She would get up in the morning, teach them for a couple hours and then work and then, do dinner and all of that. So phenomenal that she could do all of that. But it was fun because we could kind of do, different things and go on kind of cool adventures. And it was school, it was really amazing. And I'm a big time adventure dad. Yeah. I love the mountains. It's like if you're like, oh, what do you like to do? The mountains. Go to the mountains. I don't care. It could be fishing, could be hiking, could be camping. I don't care. Yeah. All I want to do is get up there. I could do nothing. I could sit there and just enjoy. And I think it's so refreshing to be in nature. And that's one great thing about Idaho. There's so much nature to be had here. And people really love nature here. So yeah, I think that's amazing that we have that opportunity. I just saw something actually this morning. Who knows if it's true or not? I know it's on the internet. It must be true. Maybe not. But it was talking about we have the most
length of rivers of any state in the United States.
Was it your post? Oh
no.
My God.
We follow the same people on Instagram.
Gosh. Well, it wasn't your post then.
No.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh, shoot, it was your post. And I was like,
no,
that is awesome. That is such a beautiful thing. Yeah. Oh, that makes me so happy. I love rivers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It could be, lake, river, ocean. It's all good.
That's
I'm
awesome.
fine.
Well, let me rewind something real fast because I don't want to just gloss over it. I think there's something to be honored here. But any parent that would set aside their normal schedule or their own selfishness, even just me. This is a good story about me. I'm a human. I'm selfish. It's very difficult for me to step out of the rigmarole of my schedule, right?
Right.
To be inconvenienced by my kids, if that makes sense, right? So here's me confessing.
Sad story, Gavin.
Confessing something, but I think any parent that's willing to actually say, hey, this isn't a good thing for my kids, whatever it is, right? And for you guys, it was school during COVID. Right. And your wife's willingness to actually put her money where her mouth is and to do it is awesome. I think that should be honored and recognized. That's really, really cool. I love the convenience of having my kids in school all day long. So, and I'm not the only parent to say that. And I've said that before, but how awesome is it that a great parent is willing to be like, well, this isn't the best thing for my kids in this season. So we're going to do something different.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that. And I'll just say this, being a parent for me is the best job I've ever had. It's the most difficult, most rewarding, most amazing thing I've ever done. And I know not everyone maybe wants to be a parent. It's interesting because the school is such a great place and so much learning occurs. And I agree with all of what you just said. I really respect and appreciate my wife for a lot of reasons, but it was her choice. Yeah. It was her choice to move here. She's like, we're done with California. It's like, done? Like, what? I'm a dog. I'll go anywhere. Like, okay, Idaho, potatoes, yummers. Let's do it. But yeah, I think this is the thing, though, in your defense, not everyone can teach their kids. Not meaning you're not capable, but your life may not allow
maybe mom and dad have a job that takes them out of the home for the whole day, right? And so I think that is the convenience of having good schools, for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything efficient about that learning day, right?
Yeah, no.
We're in that rhythm of, hey, our kids go to school 9 months out of the year all day long. And, maybe it isn't the best.
Yeah, it may or may not be. I will say, I think schools for the most part are pretty great here.
Yeah.
And once, COVID had ended, my wife taught our kids for a couple of years and always gave them the opportunity. Hey, if you want to go back to school, once it all kind of got back more to a normal way of life, they decided they wanted to go back to school. And I respect and appreciate that they did that. And I think it's great for them. But really back to that, some parents can't just drop everything to teach their kids. She was in the ideal situation that she works from home.
Yeah.
And, so she could do that. So I think a lot of parents would actually homeschool if they could, if they could make that happen. But you are also right that for a lot of people, they're like, oh, cool. School, it's break time for mom and dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, summer break is like that microcosm of what is it like to have your kids home, right?
Yeah.
So, and we're all in the throes of that at the moment. So.
Yes, we are. It's interesting. Yeah. It's a real different situation. And actually, if you are a parent that works from home, I'm at home a lot. You are, my wife is, you're like, oh, wow, there's a lot going on here. Yeah, it's interesting. And I think kids, and it's people too, really need structure. So, summer's like, oh, yay. Oh, this is great. But it's like, there's something to be said about life and structure and how important that is. And summer's just like a free for all, it's like, it could be good and you can, have a lot of fun and go on lots of great adventures, but it is a challenge for a lot of people too, because they're so used to this regiment of school and, homework and all of this. So now it's like, oh, wow, but it's fun. For me, I am not a very regimented person, which I'm sure, I'm very like, okay, you want to do this? Sure. Yeah. Do you need to know much about it? Nope. I'll just do it, and I think that I'm really blessed and grateful to have that sort of way of life. I always laugh. People are like, oh gosh, you're so happy. Number one, happiness is a choice. I choose to be happy. I don't know that I couldn't be happy. People are like, well, how did this ever happen? It's just like, I was born this way. I remember my mom saying that, you were just born happy. You were born with a smile. You always have a smile. It's not as if I couldn't have difficult times, because we all have difficult times, but it's like the glass could be half empty or half full. It's just full for me. It's just always how it is. And, dealing with challenges, you just deal with them. It's like you can be as prepared as you want for anything and everything, but then life throws you a little screwball. I don't know if that's what you call it. Screwball. Curveball.
Yeah.
Screwball. Curveball. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I have not been drinking, just so you know. I am sober. I don't do drugs. This is just me. Oh gosh. No. My wife laughs all the time. It'll be like, I'll say something like, living on the wild side or walking on the wild side. I don't know which it is. And I confuse them all the times. And she's like, oh, it was actually the other. I was like, oh.
She's got you.
Yeah. She's like, oh, good try. Yeah. She's got a bag of quotes that sometimes I have some weird quote. She's got she'll bring it up sometimes. She's like, oh yeah, remember that one time? I was like, yeah, nice. I do.
So how many years have you and Taryn been married?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we were it's a little challenging story. Not challenging. Oh, confusing. I don't know. So, right. We started dating, I want to say 2002.
Okay.
But we got married in 2007. So we dated for 5 years. And the silly thing, I don't even like to admit this, but we knew right out of the gates, we're stuck. We want to be stuck together. Yeah. We love each other. We're just like, we're so similar and so different that we're just like, we just work really well together. But I remember for the longest time, I was doing a lot of extra work, some stand-in work, also working at Starbucks. I didn't have money for a ring. Well, heads up, guys, any place that wants to sell you a ring we'll sell it to you and let you do payments. Oh, I didn't know that. One of the guys at Starbucks, one of my clients or customers, came in all the time, super awesome Armenian guy, was a custom jeweler.
Okay.
So finally, I don't know, 3.5, 4 years in, I'm like, I guess, because I proposed on our 4th year anniversary. Okay. We got married on essentially our 5th year anniversary. I started talking to him about a ring, and he's like, "Oh, you can't just get a ring. You got to bring her in, let her see what she likes." I was like,
okay.
"What? Oh, okay." So we started doing that. So she knew I was going to propose, but didn't know when, right? So we went in and actually designed a ring together. Cool. So that must have been a few months before the proposal, but it was so cute. She thought she knew when it was going to happen. She's one of those people that really knows things, and she's very planned out. The opposite of me.
Okay, right.
Well, I can know things, but the opposite.
But
of
you
the
guys
planning.
are good compliments for each other.
But I remember my proposal. She was blown away because she had no idea. Yeah. And I proposed on our anniversary of us being together, right? So it was already a fun day. I think we went to a art gallery, looked at art, had a beautiful lunch, went and saw some 007, some funny, James Bond movie. Well, during that time of the movie, I'd already been working this out with her sister. I had the home, I'd been cleaning. I was our cleaner anyhow. Yeah. I had been cleaning the home up, and she was kind of like, "God, you're sure cleaning a lot." But, I had a bunch of candles. I had it was around Christmas time, a Christmas tree, and her sister kind of helped set up a bunch of them. So as we came home from the movie, her sister had just before that, because I had texted, "Hey, we'll be home in 10 minutes, started these candles, right? Lit them, 100 candles, rose petals all over the bed, all over the floor. Oh, cool. Trying to really take it up a notch.
Yeah.
And so I got to the door, and I was going to set up, I had a camera set up. It didn't work out, but I was going to go check it. And I made her stop at the front door. She's like, "What is going on?" Cause she always knows everything. And then that wasn't going to work. So I pulled her into our bedroom and got down on a knee. I think I told her I love her so much, want to spend the rest of my life with you. You know, will you marry me? Yeah. Something of that sort. It's not word for word, but could be close, maybe. And she was just staring at me because there are candles all over. And she knows we've been out all day. She just it took her some time to say yes. I'm kind of like, okay.
She's worried the candles were burning for 8 or 10 hours. She's
just why? How? She's trying to process. She's she knows we're getting married. She doesn't even care about that. She's like, how are these candles burning? And the tree and what? You could just see the wheels in motion. It was so adorable. And then finally she's like, "Oh, yes, I do." It was so funny. But after the fact, I maybe didn't notice it in the moment. After the fact, she told me all of that. I was laughing so hard. I was like, "Oh, that's so beautiful." She's so concerned. Yeah. I was like those little tea candles.
It's who she is.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, it's awesome." But yeah, that was such a beautiful moment. Not captured on tape, guys. It's all right.
That's okay.
It's a memory.
So married 18 years then?
No. Yes. I'm sorry. Yes. Oh God, this guy's a math whiz. I'm like,
well, I'm a little bit of a cheater. We got married in 2008.
Oh, you
did. And so I kind of came back into.
Yeah, but the thing that I always laugh about, we were together 5 years prior. So that 18, I'm like, we're 27, 40. I don't know. That's not good math. I know.
That's okay.
Yeah. But 20 some odd years we've been together.
Yes.
It's a long time. Yeah. We haven't even killed each other yet.
That's good.
Yeah. It could happen. Years. Yeah. But it hasn't.
It's a good chunk of your life.
I know. Yeah. It's hard to believe. Little things like that, I think, are so wonderful. And that's another thing it's a great thing as you get older and you start reflecting on your life. And oh man, it's probably one of the best things that ever happened to me is finding this wonderful woman.
Yeah. At Starbucks.
At Starbucks. Thank you, Starbucks.
Yeah. Love that.
Yay.
All right. So let's pivot into more of the current day, right? Yes. So if we rewind, you grew up with a farm.
Yes.
With a logging family.
Yes.
Right. And then fishing. So you said it already. I was going to say it, not allergic to hard work at all. Right. I mean, that's certainly something in your roots. And then that led you to ultimately down to an acting career that was 20 years long.
Right.
And I can't help but think that maybe there was something in the acting business as you were basically self-employed. It kind of seems like, right? You were essentially looking for work from a day to day or a week to week or a month to month basis, right? I don't want to just say that's the same thing as real estate necessarily, but
similar.
But I would say that acting career and that time of looking for work or looking for clients or looking for business has to be somewhat similar to being a real estate agent, kinda, right?
Yes.
And then as a Starbucks employee, you guys prided yourselves on remembering people's names.
Right.
Right. So what better way to honor somebody than remember their name and talk to them that way? That's a tremendous characteristic for a real estate agent, right? It just seems like kind of everything culminated to, hey, hard work led to self-employed efforts, led to customer service skills and people's names, and real estate seems like a logical connection.
No brainer, right? The funny thing of it is I never knew this is where I was going to be.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how things work out. And sometimes I feel just so grateful. And I'll say, thank God that I found myself where I am today, because all of what you just said sort of makes sense to why I am where I am.
It's funny when you look backwards, right?
Yeah. It's awesome.
So I'm going to plug a book that I've plugged before on this podcast, but it's called The Gap and the Gain. Have you ever heard of that one?
I have not.
Benjamin Hardy, Dan Sullivan. I won't get into it deeply, but it's a good read. I don't actually read anymore.
Reading's hard.
I just listen now. So I'm an Audible subscriber, but that's a really good business book. And I only mention it because it's helpful as a parent. And I think it's helpful just in life. When we look backwards and we measure where we've come from, it's really cool. It can be tremendous. Not just to put feathers in your cap, but then for gratitude's sake, right? Or just to say, wow, that's cool how it all led from that to that. But as humans, we often measure ourselves forward because of where we want to be, right? Yes. So as a real estate agent or as a loan officer or as whatever it is, like you have these lofty goals of where you want to be.
Right.
But if you're continually looking at the future and you're not measuring backwards, you can feel like a failure. You can feel like you're always falling short because guess what? The goalpost is always moving, right? Yes. And so, I don't know, that book just popped into my mind again, but it's a good one for you or for anybody that's listening to go listen to it. I think it's so helpful as a parent too to measure backwards. Hey, look where your kids started and look where they've come, or in business, look where you started and look where you are now. And I think it's just awesome. So
I love it. Yeah, that's awesome.
I just totally derailed us.
Well, that's a good thing. We should always be derailed. And that's a fun thing about your business and my business. There are so many similarities to what it is we do. And, one of the things that I love about our business as a whole, there's so much to do with relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm just so glad to know you and someone else over here. Hey, what's up? It's really important to have those relationships. And that's out of all that learning and all that hard work, so much of it is relationships and it's customer service and it's hard work, right? But again, it's not work if you love what you do.
Yeah.
So I crack up sometimes, maybe because I did so much physical labor.
Yeah.
I actually loved it. I enjoyed every bit of it. Now I don't do much physical labor unless I'm doing some yard work. My wife's like, oh, go dig another hole. I'm like, okay. Like, wow, digging a hole's hard.
I'm on the wrong end of that shovel.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love where it is that we are, and being a realtor for me is absolutely the best. And, being able to help people through, it could be a challenging situation. It may or may not be. It really depends on what's going on. And I jokingly say, I want to make it fun. And people kind of look at me like, oh, I'm buying a home. I don't know if it's going to be fun, but it still can be fun.
Yeah.
And if I can make it fun and, there may be some hurdles we have to get through, but that's all right. It's usually all doable. We just have to get there, get to the end, and they get this beautiful home and everyone's happy. But yeah, helping people is the greatest.
Yep.
And it's so rewarding. Just to hear those little thank yous, it just means so much. And one thing I met with someone recently, and they had asked me the question, oh, what do you do for your clients? And I love giving back to my clients. I love taking them out to lunch, actually. And I love doing that for you as well. I love treating people. And one of the things they were talking about was my brokerage does do a customer appreciation or client appreciation. And I believe that's done yearly. And so we all can bring any of our clients to that, which is a lot of fun. But because I worked at the 55 plus, it was also kind of an idea that how can I give back to these communities? And so then the idea was given to me. It was not my idea. Somebody else gave me the great idea that why don't you have a customer appreciation for them?
Yeah.
Well, as I looked into that, they have so many things going on. Instead of creating another event, it was like, why don't you enhance one of the events?
Yeah.
So I was able to, we did Cinco de Mayo. So my broker also helped. The two of us did it. I got 250 tacos from Tin Roof Tacos.
Nice.
I got a margarita machine that someone had requested. And it was one of those, it makes the frozen margarita. I kept it virgin in case someone didn't want booze. And then I got a bunch of Patron. And so my broker, she and I were the bartenders. We had so much fun. But the point of the conversation is there was so much gratitude. I think it was the biggest event they'd ever had there. I think 105 people signed up. And I never heard the word thank you so much in my life.
That's awesome.
And it was such a beautiful moment. And I'm so glad I did it for them. But then I was like, oh gosh, I should have done it before.
Yeah.
But it happens when it happens. Now moving forward, I will have more of them. And there's another community that already found out about this. They're like, oh, what about us? I was like, yes, I'm doing one at your community too, or more.
It's on the books.
Yeah, it's on the books. So I'm so excited. But I love, that's one thing that means so much to me is giving back. And it's not just giving back to my clients, it's giving back to friends and colleagues and family. I love doing that. And I'm blessed that I'm able to do that.
It's awesome. Well, hey, one of the things we always like to ask all of our guests, and I think it's a really appropriate way to end, is, all right, let's just say you found yourself as a real estate agent, but you didn't need the money, right? But you still, for whatever reason, were a real estate agent, right? I think everybody wants to have some sort of purpose in life. So I don't want to make this too big and ethereal, but let's just say you didn't need the money. How would you show up every day if what you're doing, you didn't need to get paid for?
Exactly the same. Smiling.
Love that.
Happy there for people. Because that's just who I am. Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, hey, hearing your story is fantastic. I really, really appreciate you sharing that with us. I think it kind of speaks for itself. You're tremendous at your job. People really love working with you. Obviously, your personality shines through and you're a hoot to be around for sure.
Thank you.
We barely scratched the surface on stories from Chris today. So this is episode 1. We'll see if there's more episodes in the future, but yeah. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
The best way is cell phone, I would say. Okay. So I'm 208-760-9880. You can call, text anytime. I'm very available. Or my email, which is just chris@chrisflexhaug.com.
Okay.
So another easy way, or I'm all over social media.
We'll get those on the screen for sure down below.
Yes.
And then Instagram, right? Is it a good way to find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn. I don't know. Are there more?
All the platforms.
Yeah. MySpace.
Oh. You still have a MySpace page?
Tom, we're still besties.
I love it.
No.
It's awesome.